Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the first Global Reiki Summit. And our topic today is integrating Reiki into ceremonies with our distinguished guests, Colleen and Robyn Benelli. And I am Dawn Fleming, one of your co-hosts to the summit. So before we get into jumping into this great topic, I want to introduce our guests. And so we have Reiki Master Colleen Benelli, who is a Holy Fire 2 Karuna Master, and she offers Reiki in person in Portland, Oregon, and she also offers Reiki via distance healing as well. Now, Colleen is a senior professional licensed Reiki Master teacher for the International Center for Reiki Training. And she's also a contributing author to the Reiki News magazine. And it is a great magazine, a great resource for anyone who's interested in Reiki and any Reiki practitioner. Colleen is also an associate teacher for the Lightsong School of Shamanic Studies. And she's also created a Reiki program for that school. And what I think is really important to share with you is Colleen has a really great Reiki podcast called Reiki Chat, and it's just full of wonderful information. It's a great resource for any Reiki practitioner. And so next to Colleen, we have Robyn Benelli, and she became a Reiki master at age 15. And what I love about her is she's using Reiki to create her life. I mean, what a great gift. I wish I wish when I was younger I had it to kind of help me create the life that I wanted. And she's using it to support her family, to support her in having the family life that she wants to have, as well as supporting her career. And she is a Reiki practitioner, and she's the project manager for Reiki Lifestyle and its Reiki Chat podcast. So welcome, ladies. Hello.
Welcome and thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So, Colleen, I want to ask you, how did you get involved in Reiki?
Well, it's a long story, so I'll keep it summarized. I started off in shamanic practices, and about 3 years into my training, I've always had horses, and I had this one lifetime dream horse who went lame at 5 years old. And when I asked him what happened, and we talked all the time, but when I asked him what happened, he told me that he went lame to deliver me to my power to heal.
Wow.
He showed me placing hands on him, and because of my shamanic training and my shamanic teacher, Jan Inglesmith, we knew that was Reiki. And again, it's a long story, but I kind of procrastinated, and it turned out that a woman came into my business in downtown Portland, told me she was a psychic, had a message for me from my horse, and asked if I wanted to hear it.
Wow.
Yeah, and of course I said the same thing, wow. And so she said that he told her to tell me that he had been telling me to do something, and I hadn't done it yet, and that I needed to do it because life was coming. And so I knew that was Reiki, and I think I probably received my first Reiki attunements 2 weeks later. And I have to say it was a very instant remembering, and I completely didn't anticipate that. And I just did it because I thought, well, I should do this, and I
should do this.
Okay, this lady came into my business, I probably should listen. And actually, I was eternally grateful that I didn't get hit with the 2x4. It was a very gentle message, although, hard because of my horse. But anyway, that was in the year 2000. And I would say that Reiki just so completely filled my life and changed my life. And of course, my daughter, Robyn, she was, I was raising children at the time. that this was all going on. And it was so life-changing that it just led me on this path where I was completely compelled to teach Reiki and give Reiki and receive Reiki and talk about Reiki. And here I am. So like I say, it could be a long story, but I'm going to keep it short.
Well, good, good. And, for a lot of us that are drawn to this, our life becomes Reiki. I quit my government job and walked away. People don't quit those kind of jobs,
Yeah.
This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So, Robyn, how was it for you to grow up with Reiki all around you?
Well, it was amazing. So it's funny though, we actually were just doing a podcast on this. As a teenager, you aren't quite sure if you are going to go along with what your parents say.
So what they're doing.
Yeah. So, it's one of those that you may be like, Mom. Well, I used to tell her she needs to sit on her hands because she would chase me around with her hands. Mom, sit on your hands. So it was one of those things that as a teenager, I maybe rebelled against it a little bit, but at the same time, anytime there was stuff going on, I'd be like, Mom, send Reiki, So there was definitely the deep down relationship that I always had with it, and a comfort in knowing that I could always connect in with her through that. And then when I moved to college in San Diego, and I was so far away from her because we're here in Portland, it was always really nice to know that we were able to connect through Reiki. So, and now getting into later in life and having my own kids, coming back to Reiki as a full-time practitioner now. So yeah, it was wonderful. Wow. In retrospect.
Well, and I guess it is as a teenager thinking, oh, that's really cool, but it's really weird. And because I had 2 daughters as well, and they're like, just don't embarrass us out in public, please. Even though they both did it, they just wanted me to be normal.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But I think that's every teenager, where no matter what your parent does, that's the case. So it was totally normal teenager stuff.
Yeah. Just be normal. What is normal?
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're having firewalks in our front yard.
Yeah.
And we're having drummings in the backyard. People walking around with dowsing rods.
Having to always explain about the sage.
Yeah. But, for children, I think that's great because now you have children and they're exposed to this at a young age. And I just remember when I got into this, my children were little, and they would go to school and someone would hurt themselves and they'd say, oh, let me put my hands on this. And they weren't even sure what they were doing, but they were putting their hands on it. But that was in elementary school. Then after elementary school, it was like, oh, I can't do that. They think I'm weird.
Yeah, exactly. What's interesting though, it was always something that I could come back to. And so even if I was trying not to be weird in front of my friends and have my mom be normal and all of that, I always came back to it. I always found myself coming back to it for comfort and for connection. And so that was always a really great thing about it.
And especially being away at college as well.
It was huge. It was huge for me. Anytime there was something going on, I was always saying, Mom, send Reiki. Even when I was in traffic, I would personally use Reiki. And there was, lots of things that would happen that we would always connect in through Reiki, which was really, really nice.
How beautiful. How nice. So I really love the topic that you gave me because it's outside of the Reiki box, per se. And a lot of people in the Reiki community, some of them are ordained. I got ordained back in '95, and some are not, but a lot of us love to do ceremony. So describe what you mean by integrating Reiki into a ceremony.
Okay, you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, there are a lot of different kinds of ceremonies, of course, and some ceremonies are ceremonies that are very Reiki filled. The people there know they're there for a Reiki ceremony. And, you bring Reiki in a very obvious way and activating in a very obvious way. The songs are, fit in with the ceremony, etc. And then there are the ceremonies that you might officiate where Reiki is actually part of the ceremony, but not overtly. And so, for instance, when I've officiated a wedding, the people that I've officiated for, because for me personally, I really officiate for family and friends rather than the public, although a lot of people do, use ceremony and Reiki as an officiant for the public, and it's part of their practice. But I find that integrating Reiki into a ceremony, even that isn't specifically a Reiki ceremony, is very beneficial. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, when if I am at the New York Reiki retreat and I'm offering the Reiki gratitude ceremony, in that setting, of course, everyone is there for a Reiki ceremony. And so the whole ceremony itself, all the order of service, all the songs, all work with that energy. I can take that same ceremony and offer it in a different setting with a more diverse group with a different belief system and different groups. And now I bring Reiki into it either before the ceremony or through some of the language that I use, but it's not as overt of a use of Reiki.
Excellent, excellent. So I can see many good reasons to bring it into a ceremony. So I will let you to tell us how Reiki ceremonies help us.
Well, and did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No,
okay.
You answered it perfectly.
Okay. Well,
I'll hop in when I need to.
Okay. So Reiki ceremonies help in a lot of different ways. So again, depending on the venue of the ceremony. So I find that Reiki ceremonies, that we can use them for a personal use. So it might just be for me that I'm doing a ceremony. Again, let's take the gratitude ceremony. I can take that ceremony and I can adapt it into one that's just for me, to take a quick moment as I'm busy doing everything else I'm doing and take a moment to bring in Reiki, bring in the frequency of gratitude for me. And of course, that's going to bring the energy of that ceremony to me and gratitude to me. The same way I could do that same ceremony, or let's take a burning bowl ceremony, and I could do it for a whole group of people. And that whole group of people then can receive ceremony together. So when you really look at how does it specifically help you, I think what I've really noticed, and it's been very, very highlighted in this, past several months, is the energy of chaos that is surrounding us all.
Yeah.
Not to get into any specific right, wrong,
exactly.
But I think most of us can agree that there's a lot of conflict, a lot of controversy, and a lot of chaos in the energy. And my belief system is that energy actually creates a physical broadcast that now exists.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that we find with ceremony is a very empowered way to express intention. So let's say I'm doing a quick ceremony for myself. That is a very definite intention that I'm setting. I'm taking the time. I'm establishing a protocol. I'm, focused on a particular intention, and then I'm sending the power of that out. If I'm with a whole group of people, then, we're doing the exact same thing, but now we have the power of the circle. And so the power of that circle is coming together, coming together to call in that energy, to express that intention together. And I believe that that creates another thought form.
Yeah.
And that if many of us are contributing to that thought form of well-being, and we are doing it in a way that is enhanced with a ceremony, there's just power in it. And I find that ceremony is, in addition, it feels good. You know?
I think it feels good, and it's increasing the energy. When we do a ceremony, it's with intention. And anything with intention, the energy around it is increasing. And if you add Reiki to it, it just takes it and increases it, 1,000-fold.
Exactly. And if a ceremony is, say, specifically a Reiki ceremony, I know for myself, and I should say that, most of these ceremonies that I'm talking about, I actually have them written out on my website. So people, as I'm referring to them, people can go to those and all the instructions and everything are there, so they could do it for themselves. So, if you take like a burning bowl ceremony or a gratitude ceremony and you put a whole group energy towards that, towards that intention, we have the two or more gathered.
Yeah.
That idea. But also those particular ceremonies have an element of release and bringing in. So releasing what is no longer serving someone, like the burning bowl.
Yeah.
In a ceremony, you sit in that ceremony together and you go into your heart more than what just your mind can think of. We have plenty of things we're ready to let go of up here. But when you take the time to go into your heart, new things are revealed to you. So going into your heart and writing things down and collectively going and placing them into a container that is designed to take that, take what they've written and turn it into the smoke, and the smoke becomes a prayer. And the prayer is filled with Reiki and the Reiki energy. And I use the distance symbol to take whatever they've let go of into the light. So then the next part of the ceremony is always about what are you bringing in? Mm-hmm. So even if you've done a burning bowl ceremony where the focus of that ceremony is letting go, it's a release ceremony, but there's always still a bringing in. So what are you asking for to happen in your life? And now the ceremony is going to empower that energy and empower what you're asking for. So I think that it helps us individually, which of course then helps collectively. And when we are collectively setting an intention, then that intention is really very powerfully heard, creating a thought form. And then those thought forms, as more and more people are doing them, those thought forms are actually also physically being created over the planet.
Excellent. And so, Robyn, do you do like little ceremonies with your children?
Well, Luna is only 5 months old.
Oh, okay.
But we did do a ceremony when she was when I was pregnant. We did several ceremonies. We did one at my baby shower that was absolutely
that's beautiful.
Yeah. And it was wonderful because we took string and we wrapped it around. We had everybody take the string and put their blessings in it for my daughter's name is Luna, and then wrap it around a nail that could then created a design. And that is now in her nursery. And the other thing that we did with we have a very close group of women, of mothers and daughters, and now two of us, myself and another one of the daughters, have had daughters 6 weeks apart. So it's a very powerful circle that we have with each other. And So what we did before my baby shower is we actually took crystals, we took rose quartz, and we all imbued them and sent our Reiki blessings into the crystals. And that bowl of crystals is also sitting in her nursery. And we did this for both babies that are 6 weeks apart. So we've had lots of ceremony with Luna in the womb. And then right before I went into labor too, we did a small ceremony to welcome her, and right after she was born to welcome her into the world. So it has already been a part of her life.
How great. How perfect.
Yeah.
And I love this because we're getting different aspects in different times of your life of how you can integrate this into ceremony.
Exactly.
And I love using the crystals, or you said the string, because then it's a reminder of the beautiful ceremony and the people connected in the ceremony as well.
Exactly. It's that connection, and it also emanates. I mean, you can feel it. It's very palpable in the crystals and in the string art that, I mean, you can feel the love emanating from it. And I love that she's surrounded by that and exposed to that every day.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. So how do Reiki ceremonies contribute to the wellness of the earth?
Well, this one was kind of like what she was just talking about with the thought forms. It's no matter what crowd you're in, ceremony is a way to reflect on your higher self. I think it's a way to be introspective. You're going in with intention, and it's a positive influence on the collective vibration with a group of people, and they're all coming together to participate in a positive event. And so I think just participating in ceremony makes the world a better place. Exactly like she was saying, that when you're doing it just for yourself, if you're participating in a ceremony where you're trying to let things go, you're raising your vibration, which then in turn helps the collective vibration of the earth. Or when you're participating in a ceremony together that's directly sending it to the earth, I think that's another really beautiful and positive way to send it. As she was saying, like with the thought forms that it's such a beautiful way to break through the negative thought forms that, especially right now, I think it's a really easy example to use.
Yeah.
And so you're not only contributing positivity through yourself and making yourself better, being the change that you wish to see in the world, but you're also collectively doing that. I think another really good example of that is in the gratitude ceremony. I know that there's a part of it that's a prayer that sends it to the world peace grids. And that William Rand is placed all over the world in the North and South Poles. I think there's one in Jerusalem, there's one in Michigan and Hawaii. And Hawaii, yeah. And so when you're sending gratitude and positive vibration to those peace grids, which is there to heal the world religions and bring peace into all of the different viewpoints that this earth contains, that you're now contributing to the collective, that is going around the world constantly. And I think I think there's a power to those positive thought forms, that it's kind of a little bit of a form of activism, something that you can do, that can help.
Yeah, anyone could do that.
Yeah.
And I'll just say that one of the other presenters in the summit, he's a doctor, and he has biofield imaging of a Reiki practitioner standing way in front of Bell Rock. And it's got an image of what the rock looks like before she starts. And then in a very few seconds, she just sends Reiki to Bell Rock. And the bioimaging turns from this red color to a gold color. And it's like all in like 30 seconds.
Wow.
So when we do send Reiki to the earth, he's showing how it like instantaneously makes a difference.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, You talked a little bit about how we use Reiki in ceremony personally and in a group. Did you have anything that you wanted to add more to that?
Did you want to talk about the diversity?
Yeah, I think that an important part of it about adapting Reiki to diverse crowds is really important, because not all ceremonies have to be spiritual. They can accommodate diverse belief systems and still accomplish their purpose. And I think that that's so true with Reiki as well. You know, it's non-denominational, as we know. So I think that that's a really cool thing about ceremony as well. I have a great example because not all my friends are okay or comfortable with doing a full Reiki ceremony. So what I do is I have a great example. I have actually a group of friends of neuroscientists, and they're all very by the book scientists and not necessarily a belief in these spiritual modalities. But we spend New Year's Eve together. And so I actually do a version with them of the burning bowl ceremony. And I'm running Reiki. When I'm facilitating the ceremony, I'm running Reiki. They're okay with that part. I fill the room with Reiki. I use Reiki to listen to the words on how the ceremony should come through. But what I do instead of doing the full ceremony, I just ask them to take a second, take a few deep breaths, and think about something that they want to let go and not bring into the new year. And, you know, I make sure that as I concentrate on what you want, put some intention into this. And so they write it down on their piece of paper and put it in the bowl, and we burn it, and that's pretty much it. And they love it. And I think it doesn't always have to be full ceremony, that just even in that action and that kind of casual way to do it, that it's still creating this own little tight knit bond. And every year they're like, are we going to do the burning bowl? Are we going to do that? And so I'm getting these neuroscientists to do it. And so I think that, and I fill the room with Reiki. So when they have let this go, that they are being filled back up with positivity. And I do tell them that is happening. And I say, you know, I just want to let you know that we're going to fill what you're letting go, with positivity. And they're okay with that. And so there's a power to that. They are doing what they can to also help themselves and help heal this part of themselves as well. And so I just think it's important that it's like, you know, there's also the full ceremonies, which are beautiful, but there's also a time when they're not necessarily true, that don't need to be that full, and that's okay. And I think the biggest lesson with that is I really use Reiki to listen to what the ceremony needs to be. And that's a skill that actually my mom has really helped me develop for the ceremonies and performing them. Because I do actually have a lot of friends that it may not be a fit for. And I still want to participate in helping them heal a little bit and, you know, bring themselves to that higher vibration.
And I think just for them saying they want to be a part of a ceremony is that they're giving permission to be part of that energy. And I love what you said about allowing the Reiki to tell you what's needed for the ceremony. Because, you know, our egos think that we know and that we can create and do what we think those people need. But when we can tune into the silence and just allow the Reiki to come through and to guide that process, how much more beautiful it can be when it comes through the Reiki instead of through, you know, what we think.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Getting out of our own way, because you would think in that scenario that maybe you should do this full ceremony and just let them do their thing, you know, let them not worry about it. But this way it's a better fit, you know? And so that's where the most healing comes in. And that's all due to Reiki.
And by bringing that Reiki energy in, like setting the energy of the room and the intention, it just helps those who could be a little bit uncomfortable with it. It just kind of helps them relax and just get into a flow that they can connect into.
That's such a good point. That's so true. It does. I mean, it's that stress release, right? So
Yeah.
it does.
It's
Let me share really quickly, just I think it's a great story about that getting out of the way. And the first time that I was going to present the Reiki gratitude ceremony at the New York retreat, and there were a lot of people there, so I was pretty nervous, and actually I was getting very nervous. And fortunately, I had sent Reiki ahead of time to myself for it. But even the day before the ceremony, I was getting so worked up, I thought, I'm not going to survive until tomorrow. And so I was praying to Reiki, okay, help me, calm my anxiety. And we were out drumming one night. We were drumming to the moon. And I heard this voice come in behind me and it said, it's not about you.
I love it.
One of the biggest trainings of my life. And I heard it say, you're here to bring gratitude to the people. No one is there to evaluate your performance.
Oh, I love it.
And it was such a huge moment because it taught me that that's true in all of my Reiki practices and my classes. Everyone is just coming for the gift of Reiki, the blessings that they receive from it, the healing they receive. And so the same is true about the ceremony. And it changed everything for me. In that moment, I thought, well, I know how to do that. Like I can just say, okay, gratitude, come.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And like you said, it takes the pressure off of you because you're bringing that energy of gratitude and Reiki through.
Yeah, and it wasn't about me. And so just, I thought it was a perfect example for all of us to just remember in our practices, and that we just bring a gift through. And, the performance part of it can be so simple or it can be elaborate. When I say performance, none of it is really performance, but when you put the order of service together and whether you have to adapt it to a crowd or you're doing a whole ceremony with everybody engaged in Reiki, just letting the ceremony come through you.
Beautiful. That is really beautiful. And that takes the pressure off.
Yes.
So what is the role of the facilitator or the officiant in a ceremony?
Okay, let me answer.
I'll let you take this one.
Okay. Well, listening, of course, is the first goal. And listening for really what needs to happen in the ceremony. So realizing that each element of a ceremony has a reason for being there. So if I'm officiating a wedding, for instance, or a funeral, I've officiated funerals for friends and far too many. But, it's been part of my role as the Reiki person in my community. And so realizing that in a ceremony, there's an actual order of service. So each element that you're doing in that ceremony has a reason for being there. And so as the facilitator, you're actually bringing in the energy for each of those elements. You're actually facilitating the energy, you're facilitating the languaging, the techniques that you might use to make each of those steps happen. You're also maybe thinking about music that might be included in the ceremony. And you're listening, just as we were talking about, sometimes you end up having to adapt quickly. Yeah. So for instance, let's take the wedding ceremonies, when I've officiated wedding ceremonies, and I've had a variety of belief systems in those ceremonies. So like one wedding that I officiated, the bride was atheist and the groom was Native American. And so how am I going to fit the energy of that together? How am I going to merge that? What language am I going to use? Another one that I did was very Episcopalian. Another one I did, they were spiritual but not religious. Another one that I did, even though the couple themselves did not need religious language, their family members attending the ceremony did.
Yeah.
So those are the things that you find out through listening. And, in that instance, in those instances, like a wedding and a funeral, you're actually interviewing people that are participating to find out what they need. And then in, say, a Reiki ceremony, well, let's go back to the wedding ceremony really quickly. One of the things that I always do is do a burning bowl ceremony the night of the rehearsal dinner. So, they come in and they're letting go of all the stuff that they need to let go of so that the next day, what they are actually bringing in their wedding ceremony, this stuff is all out of the way. What they don't want to take forward into their marriage and all the busyness of the preparations. So some of those that I've done, at the rehearsal dinner, there's plenty of room for it. There's time for it. The entire rehearsal dinner party is engaged in the ceremony. Another one, we thought that was going to happen, and there was no time. So I just took the bride and groom off. We spent maybe 10 minutes at the most, said, okay, write down what isn't serving you. We Reiki'd it because they were Reiki too, and they burned it, and we all went back. So
Great.
part of what happens as the facilitator or officiant is that you're staying in that state of listening, remembering none of it is about you. You're just bringing the gift to the people. So how it all plays out can be adapted. And so, but like in a wedding ceremony, for instance, as the officiant, I'm actually really keeping the energy of the two people getting married very powerfully held for and for the entire group. So, there's a lot to it, and I know we're just summarizing here, but just having some of the concepts, like for me, it took me a long time to really understand that there's an order of service, and that, each element of that order of service has a technique that I'm going to use to deliver the energy in that portion of the ceremony. And once you kind of know why they all work, then it's very easy to adapt. So it's like you can kind of look at it and go, oh, this is why I'm doing this section. And then however you need to bring in that section in the moment is available to you, if you understand what it is that you're doing.
Sounds like you have a book inside of you.
It's on that never-ending long list.
Yeah. I've done, like you've done, very different weddings where one is either religious or not, or we've got to please the family and the couple's not religious. And, from my experience, I feel like the day of the wedding, I'm just grounding everything with Reiki. Because everyone, at the wedding, there's excitement, and there's like, oh my God, I'm lost. What do I do? And it's just grounding the energy. And a couple times, I've been called back to do Reiki on the bride, to just kind of ground her, give her a little bit of Reiki. And the one place I did a wedding was in a golf course, in their big room. So the women were all getting ready in the locker room, and I was doing Reiki on the bride. And then the other people go, what are you doing? Come do that on me. That looks right. And so I was going around grounding and doing Reiki on everyone in the women's locker room that was in the bridal party before we did the ceremony. So that was a cool way to introduce a lot of people to Reiki.
That's so great.
That's true.
Well, even one of my roles at one of the weddings I was officiating, as I was doing Reiki with the bride and groom right beforehand, I thought, I could feel they have not eaten.
Oh.
So, immediately, even though I was officiating, it was immediate. I need to get them food.
Yeah, that was smart.
They need a sandwich, something quick, just some food. And so,
Yeah.
that's that state of listening, I think.
Yeah, yeah. When you're centered in that Reiki presence, you just pick up on what needs to be done. Yeah.
Yep.
Excellent. So, how is a ceremony, how can that be a part of a Reiki practice?
You can start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we've talked quite a bit about this.
Yeah.
There's all different ways. So you may use Reiki as something a ceremony that you might do with your clients. So for instance, as a client is coming in, you may do something for them in that way.
I like to do a burning bowl with my clients, and I will wait for a couple of sessions until I know the client, because some clients just want straight Reiki.
Yeah.
But other ones, a burning bowl can be great for, and this is, again, you listen with Reiki on when it's appropriate to do it with them, something that maybe they've been working on to let go of. And then you use the session to fill them back up with Reiki. I use that one a lot. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine. We had talked about that
Yeah.
was one of the ways that she uses it a lot and uses ceremony a lot. But also, depending on what a person wants for their professional practice, because now we've become, I think we're talking about if someone wants to be a professional practitioner. And so officiating ceremonies is actually something that I think if I, wanted to do more of it, more people would actually ask me to officiate weddings, funerals, things like that, to do ceremonies for groups. And, it would be something that could be specifically advertised. The other way that I think we can use it then personally in our personal Reiki practices is what we talked about earlier. For me, it's actually part of my activism. I don't know what to do about the whole world out there and all this chaos, but I do know what I can do. And so these are small things that I can do. I can do ceremony with my family. We've got Mother's Day coming up.
Yeah.
It's just a great way. And they can be, short and simple, or they can be long, depending on, the family dynamics or even what happens in that day. So I think it can be part of your personal, like you say, it becomes that lifestyle, what we do every day, and ceremony can be a part of that. But I do also think, if people are creating a professional Reiki practice, it's actually part of a service.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be listed in the services that I officiate weddings.
House clearing.
House
clearing is a really good one. Yeah.
Another one that we really like too is like the talking stick, for instance. And talking stick is great for mediation. Or if people need to develop clarity of mind. So same thing, that could be a whole group. It could be if two people needed mediation. It could be a whole group, saying prayers, and they hold the talking stick and it emanates out from them. So there's a lot of different ones, and of course we've only even talked about a few. Baby showers, welcoming, baptisms, things like that, rites of passage. Lots of things that can be a part of a Reiki practitioner's professional services.
And I'm just so glad you're saying that, because it just adds another dynamic to what it is we can do.
Yeah, exactly.
Such good information. One time I had someone on my table, and their ailment was kind of related to not being acknowledged when they left their job. And they'd been in this job for 20 years. So we stopped the session right there, and we did a ceremony for them, acknowledging all that they gave to that job, and acknowledging their love that they gave and everything that they gave, and giving gratitude to them for that. So it's almost like we did this retirement ceremony for them right there on the spot. And I just, I could hear them breathe and like accepting that. And like they were receiving something they did not get. So you never know what that ceremony, when it's going to be needed or what it's going to be about.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, because that is I think that's a really important one. It's those life cycle changes too, and to even think of that in advance. Think of a retirement party where you came in and did Reiki for the retirement party.
That's right, a Reiki ceremony.
They all bless the stones and put it into the bowl, and the
Yeah.
person gets to take it home.
It's kind of, it's a rite of passage.
It is.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's an ending and a new beginning, and needing to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
So what activities do the two of you have coming up? And tell everybody, I know your information's on the Summit website, but if they're listening here, just tell everybody how they can get, what your websites are, how they can get a hold of you as well.
Okay, well, we are both part of Reiki Lifestyle, so that's ReikiLifestyle.com. And you can always contact me at Colleen at ReikiLifestyle.com, and Robyn is Robyn Benelli at gmail.com.
Yeah, and it's ROBYN Benelli at gmail.com.
Yeah, good to
Yeah.
We have a lot of really exciting things coming up. And, since Robyn has decided to work with me and work with Reiki full time, now all those things that are on the list are actually happening. Because as just like getting ready for this summit, you can have the idea, but then making it all happen is so much. So what we are actually doing is focusing on Reiki ceremony training.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are going to have both in-person classes here in Portland for those who are local. And we will also do an online version. And shall I say that is in process?
Yes.
Well, that's okay. You're putting it out there. You're putting it out there.
And we're also developing a web store where you can go and buy ceremony kits. So it comes with everything that you need to perform ceremonies. So, for example, the burning bowl ceremony, it comes with an amazing handmade bowl and Epsom salts, the instructions on how to do the ceremony, how to officiate the ceremony. So you can do, and we've got personal sizes, professional sizes. So that will be, we're going to be getting that up this summer actually. So that's really close, getting up soon. And the gratitude ceremony, there'll be a bunch of them on there on the website.
I already have a lot of these ceremonies on my website now, and they're free. They're in the ceremony section. So it has all the materials. They have the prayers. They have kind of the order of service so people can understand them. But we want to develop that more. And I think it was like you and I were talking before we started this call, that, it's really, all of our hearts are so engaged in bringing resources to the people. Like, how can we help people know how to do these things and expand what is going on for them personally and professionally? And so that's one of our really big goals. The other thing that we're doing is a big ceremony for the eclipse that is happening here in Oregon. We are going to be in the totality.
Mm-hmm.
So we scheduled a Reiki 1 and 2 and ART Masterclass. That's a Holy Fire 2, 1 and 2 and ART Masterclass. And those dates are like
August 16th through 20th.
August 16th
the
through
1 and
20th.
2, 16th and 17th, our ART Master is 18th through 20th.
Yeah, and they don't have to do all 5 days, but just those are the dates.
Yeah.
And then the eclipse is on the 21st. So we are actually, we found beautiful land at the Tulip Festival land in Oregon, and we are going to go there and do a ceremony for the earth in the totality. And we're going to do that all together.
Yeah, it's about an hour south of us, so we're handling all the details, transportation, and all of that food, and then the
solar
glasses. Yeah.
How cool is that?
To wear the weird little solar glasses.
Yeah, and then the ceremony is just going to be so much fun and beautiful, and we're really going to, for the next solar cycle, put a lot of intention into bringing peace and healing to the earth.
Yay!
We have a ceremonial singer, Lori Shansky, will be there also.
So it's going to be so cool.
So that's exciting. And then
I
have one other thing I really want to share that I'm super excited about too is I am teaching a class with William Rand in Japan in September.
Wow.
We'll be in Kurama Village for a week, and we will be teaching 2 days of the ART master class, and then the following week is a Karuna class, and we'll be teaching 2 of the days actually on Mount Kurama in the location. Nobody knows for sure exactly where Sui Sensei received the gift of Reiki, but it's highly likely that it's this spot. And so we'll actually be on the land itself. So I'm really excited about that. But otherwise, we have classes here. I teach Reiki regularly, just about every month. I have a 1 and 2, every other month an ART master, and I teach Karuna Reiki. And gosh, I know you're on it
full time and all of the above.
That's why the list is so long.
That's good.
.com.
Say the website again.
ReikiLifestyle.com.
Good. And all the information about the eclipse ceremony will be on your site as well?
Yep, that's under the classes page, or that's ReikiLifestyle.com/eclipse.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, you have given us so much information, good information, and just showing us how another way that we can integrate Reiki into our life in a personal way and into the lives of many, many others, as well as for healing the planet. So thank you, Colleen. Thank you, Robyn. This has been great. And just I want to thank all the viewers who are tuning in and helping to spread this Reiki light all around the planet. Talk to you later.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
Okay. I forgot to mention our podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And that's Reiki Lifestyle also. And you can listen to the archive. In fact, Dawn has been a guest on Reiki Chat and talking about her, about how to gain the ability to give continuing education units. And I know you have all that information on your website. But anyway, Reiki Chat is where we talk about all things Reiki, and you can find that on iTunes at Reiki Lifestyle.
All right, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Dawn.
you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.